Abraham had organized a huge party to celebrate his son. And now it says after these events. So it has this party in view, and there's a surprising change. It says here, the one true only God, it emphasizes this, puts Abraham to the test. Some translations say that God tempted, God tried him. And the rabbis observe that Abraham is the only one in the whole of the Torah who is put to test like this. Now God does not want Abraham to fall, to stumble. God puts him to a test because he loves him. And the purpose of this test is to strengthen him. So the rabbis say the Holy One, blessed be He, does try anybody except those who are great among the people. He does not try anybody but the righteous ones. And we have that actually in Psalm 11. It says the Lord tests or puts to test the righteous, and then it goes on, but His soul hates the wicked and the one who loves violence. So to be put to a test is contrasted with to reject, to hate, to those whom He does not love. And in the same way we have it when God called the nation of Israel out of Egypt. It says there actually, the whole commandment that I command you today, you shall be careful to do, that you may live and multiply and go and possess the land that the Lord swore to give to your fathers. And you shall remember the whole way that the Lord your God has led you these 40 years in the desert, in the wilderness, that He might humble you, and now it's again testing you. So the whole way of Israel in the desert was a test that God put on His people, to know what was in your heart, whether you would keep His commandments or not. And He humbled you and let you hunger and fed you with manna, which you did not know, nor did your fathers know, that He might make you know that man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes forth from the mouth of the Lord. So, the purpose of God's trying a human being is that God and man mutually get to know each other better, and that there grows this relationship that the Bible describes or comprises in the word to know. So the rabbinical teachers say that actually the whole scroll of Abraham, the whole life of Abraham was characterized by these trials, by these tests. And they identified 10 tests in the life of Abraham. And you actually should take your time and go through them again from this perspective. The first test was that he had to leave his homeland, his father's house. The second test was that there was a famine in the land, in the promised land, and he again had to leave that land. And then the third test was the encounter with Pharaoh. And the fourth test was the war against the 4 kings. And then there was another test when Hagar appeared in the picture. And then there was we are with number 6, the 6th test with circumcision. And then the encounter with Abimelech. An 8th test was that God actually confirmed Sarah's wish to expel Hagar. And then the separation from Ishmael was the 9th test. And now we are here at the binding of Isaac with the 10th test. We have to see what's happening here. Abraham came from Hebron, and he walked, it says here, he had a journey of at least 3 days until he reached this place that God showed him. And he climbed up the mountains. You see here a little bit of these mountains. And there were no streets as today. There were not a lot of people around as today. It was a deserted place. And Abram climbed the mountains. And then we see in the following text here that Isaac had these questions. And it was this question that possibly also moved Abraham. What is this all about? Why do I have to go here? And then he built the altar, and I have to read this to you. It says there, then he bound Isaac his son. And pay attention, look at this text once more on your own. He bound Isaac his son, he laid him on the altar on top of the wood, and Abraham reached out his hand and took the knife and to slaughter his son. And then the Lord came in. The whole thing is dramatic. The Lord came in, that means the angel of the Lord, and says, Abram, Abram. And we hear all the tension. And he says, yes. He says, do not stretch out your hand against your son. So this whole tension is building up. And actually it's a very similar situation like in the book of Job. If you remember that, there also was a huge feast, and right after the feast came the testing that took the whole book. Abraham, as father of our faith, is being tested. That makes him the father of our faith. And I would like to leave this question with you. Do you really want to be elect? Do you really want to be chosen by God for specific tasks? Do you really be loved by God in that way that He will be testing you? Because He tests those whom He loves. There is no other way. And I have to tell you honestly, sometimes I'm quite happy that I'm not a Jew, that I'm not Israel, because He did not treat any other people, any other nation like this.